Hello people, I'm Tommy, and one of my favorite pastimes is going onto the internet and spreading lies. You see, I took a graphic design class in high school, and with my editing skills, these poor suckers will believe anything I say. I'll be king of the forum until I get discredited 15 minutes later and have my entire family tree leaked. But you know, it is fun to get people excited and then watch their dreams get crushed by a multi-billion-dollar company.
Nintendo Direct, your one-stop shop for all things Nintendo. Usually a 40-minute long presentation that gives information regarding upcoming video games, consoles, and updates. Once a Nintendo Direct gets announced, people are most certainly going to speculate what will be discussed, that being a new video game, character reveal, or anything in between. Nintendo Directs have been around for more than 10 years, and they've changed immensely throughout. Today, we'll be looking at the history of Nintendo's Direct video news feed and how we got to where we are today. October 21st, 2011, a date that will live in infamy as the day Reggie Fils-Aimé shat all over those who didn't own a Nintendo 3DS. This was the first ever Nintendo Direct, and oh boy was it. The Direct starts off how you would expect a Nintendo Direct to begin, talking about Nintendo stuff that we don't care about. But then it takes a complete 180 and has Reggie talking about Donkey from Shrek doing Thriller and 3D music videos from Foster the People. But let's not forget about Hulu Plus coming to Wii and 3DS, where we get to watch new episodes of Dancing with the Stars, Modern Family, and Glee. I f***ing love white people. Almost half the Direct is dedicated to stuff like this, and it comes off as really bizarre when compared to Nintendo Directs nowadays. But Nintendo did get around to talking about video games, where they discussed eShop titles like Freaky Forms, Swap Notes, Dylan's Rolling Western, and Pushmo. And at the very end of the Direct, games like Super Mario Land, Mario Kart 7, and The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword were shown. Yeah, so Nintendo Direct did not start off strong. Nintendo Direct back in 2011 felt more like a news feed about what's going on with Nintendo, rather than a bunch of trailers and video game reveals like we see today. This was the only Nintendo Direct to come out in North America, while Japan would get a second Direct on December 27th. Not the best start, but it can only go up from here. After the growing pains of the 2011 Directs, Nintendo went in full force in 2012. This was where we would truly start to see the Nintendo Directs take full form. One of the biggest things happening to Nintendo this year was the end of the Nintendo Wii and the introduction of Nintendo's new console, the Nintendo Wii U. So Nintendo's focus this year was on the release of 3DS games and the soon-to-be-released Wii U. Nintendo Direct also introduced the Developers' Stories, a segment where a key figure in a video game's creation is interviewed about the making and reasons for creating games. Nintendo CEO at the time, Satoru Iwata, also becomes one of the main faces of Nintendo Direct along with Reggie. This year would also see the introduction of the Nintendo Direct Mini, the same as regular Nintendo Directs, just cut down from the normal 30 to 40 minutes long to about 10 to 25 minutes long. February 2nd, 2012 would be the first Nintendo Direct of the year, with a snazzy opening logo to boot. For the early 2012 Directs, Nintendo would use an actual background, the Nintendo of America headquarters in Redmond, Washington, with shaky camera movements as a bonus. The big releases of 2012 discussed in the Nintendo Direct include Kid Icarus Uprising, New Super Mario Bros. 2, Paper Mario Sticker Star, Crash Mo, and the biggest reveal of the year, Fire Emblem. 2 sleeping dragons, 1 a sacred ally of mankind, the other sworn destroyer, 2 heroes marked with the symbols of the dragons, their meaning heroes, the dragon's awakening, and the world's ending. Awakening is getting localized. This year, Nintendo truly expanded the Direct's formula to something similar that we see today. Let's see how that goes next year. 2013, the beginning of Nintendo's spiral into madness. The Wii U was already doing less than good compared to previous consoles, and this loss of green paper meant Nintendo needed to get their green fix with the Year of Luigi. You thought Nintendo made lots of Mario games last year? Well, they listened to the fan outcry and brought in the green guy. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, New Super Luigi U, Mario and Luigi Dream Team. This truly was the year it was socially acceptable to abuse your older sibling. This is the first year of Pokémon Presents. Nintendo Directs dedicated to the Pokémon series, the first present being about the reveal of Pokémon X and Y, the first Pokémon games of the 6th Pokémon generation. We also got the very famous Wii Fit U Direct that year, neat, and Smash 4 reveal. Other Nintendo games discussed this year includes Pikmin 3, Game & Wario, A Link Between Worlds, Wii Sports Club, and Fire Emblem Awakening, now with 33 less words in the title. A new Zelda was announced, which would go on to become Breath of the Wild. Can't wait to play that on my Wii U. Both the 3DS and Wii U got very good games this year, and although the Wii U is slipping up already, the future's not looking too bad. 2014 was a slower year for Nintendo Direct. We got videos about individual games like Mario Kart 8, Hyrule Warriors, Smash 4, and Tamagotchi Life. We did get some good games discussed this year like Pokémon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and Pushmo World. And their E3 showing this year was one of the best they've had, bringing in the Robot Chicken team to do the introduction. This was also where the famous Reggie vs. Iwata fight took place, and the talk about upcoming games like Bayonetta 2, Mario Maker, and Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. But Smash 4 was Nintendo's focus of this year. We got a lot of character reveals, including Greninja, Palutena, Robin, Lucina, the Mii's. Nintendo went big with Smash this year, and would later release the Super Smash Bros. For Wii U 50 Fact Extravaganza, which, according to Nintendo, is considered a Nintendo Direct. These were some wild facts too. Automatic notifications. Thank you! Smash was the big player this year, but the lack of much else still kept this year feeling empty. But you see, this year was the calm before the storm, and I mean that in the absolute worst way possible. We move on to 2015, and oh god, this was a shit show. Even in the beginning of the year, even though it wasn't terrible, the cracks already began to show. We did get Fire Emblem Fates, Splatoon, new series of Mario amiibos announced, with lots of eShop games announced like Stretchmo. Senior Product Marketing Manager Bill Trinan had his day of stardom getting to host the very first Nintendo Direct Micro, which was also the only Nintendo Direct Micro ever made, and he was forced to talk about Chibi Robo Ziplash. I am sorry, Bill Trinan. The first half of the year we didn't see much of anything, and the games Nintendo were promoting as heavy hitters of the year weren't games from huge franchises. Last year, we had the release of Smash Bros. 2013 was Pokemon's jump to 3D along with a new portable Zelda game. 2015 and the first half of the year lacked really anything to look forward to. And then the day came, June 16th, 2015, a Nintendo Direct for E3. So the Direct starts out fun. We see the big names at Nintendo in puppet forms giving a similar gimmick to what we've seen in the past few E3s. And then it happens. The games start getting announced. Star Fox Zero, Skylanders Superchargers, Metroid Prime Federation Force, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, and oh dear f***, Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE. That is a lineup. This Direct symbolized just how much Nintendo did not care about their first or third-party lineup this year. It's so interesting how many of the most hated games in their respective series were shown during this Direct. But hey, the E3 ended with Super Mario Maker. That's the game that convinced me to get a Wii U. I'm trying to find something nice to say here. The remainder of the year was just schlock after schlock until the final video presentation of Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, which revealed 3 characters. The most undeserving character to be in Smash, Cloud, and the most hated character in Smash 4. They couldn't even end Smash Bros. Right? Jesus Christ. 2015 was a sharp decline for Nintendo as a whole, and the Directs reflected that. But hey, Nintendo's now at rock bottom, so I'm sure we can only go up from here. People complain now about how slow Nintendo Directs are, but we got almost no Directs in 2016. Nintendo definitely had a rocky last year with poor games and the unfortunate passing of longtime Nintendo CEO Satoru Iwata. Just like 2015, we had a lot of announcements, but without that heavy hitter to get everyone excited. Star Fox Zero was on its way to be the big return for Star Fox until it crashed and burned. Pokken Tournament came to the Wii U, and that was my personal big Wii U game of the year. It's the only good fighting game ever made. The mainline Pokemon series entered the 7th generation. Bill Trinan steals Reggie's food. Hey Pikmin. Sonic Boom, Fire and Ice. Well, at least it wasn't Tokyo Mirage Sessions. So 2016 wasn't a bad year, it was just very slow. Which does make sense, as by this time the rumors have been going around about Nintendo working on a new console, the Nintendo NX. This was the twilight years of the Wii U, and although the 3DS was going strong, Nintendo was beginning to fully focus their efforts on their new console. The past 2 years of Nintendo Direct have been very underwhelming, but 2017 was a big year for Nintendo. Gone was the Wii U, and in come its successor, the Nintendo Switch. But first we gotta talk about the Fire Emblem Direct that kicked off the year. Shadows of Valentia, announcement for a new Fire Emblem game on the Switch, Fire Emblem Heroes, and Fire Emblem Warriors. When I first watched this in 2017, I did not care because I barely even knew what a Fire Emblem was. Speaking of Fire Emblem Heroes though, Nintendo really started to push their mobile games this year and started making Nintendo Directs specifically for them, the Nintendo Mobile Directs. This year would also be the introduction of the Nindies Showcase, a precursor to Indie World giving the spotlight to independently developed games. On April 4th, 2017, we would get the first true Nintendo Direct of the year. This is where we truly enter the modern era of the Nintendo Direct. Many elements that we see today appear here, such as the presentation of each trailer, the headlines showing up right before each trailer, and the introduction of the modern Nintendo Direct guy, Yoshiaki Koizumi. Nintendo were super focused on not letting the Nintendo Switch become another Wii U, and they pulled all the stops this year. This Direct reinforced the ideas Nintendo had going into this year, redefining existing IPs, creating new franchises, and still showing support for the 3DS with titles like Hey Pikmin, Ever Oasis, and Shadows of Valentia. They also showed support for more third-party games like SteamWorld Dig, Runner 3, and Stardew Valley. Nintendo pushed for variety and quality this year rather than seeing what sticks like they did with the latter half of the Wii U. Games that previously appeared on Nintendo Directs, like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which was first announced all the way back in 2013, finally came out in 2017, and we got the announcement of Metroid Prime 4. This was all about recovery and reinvention, as Nintendo finally felt what it was like to have a successful home console again. 2018 felt like a direct sequel to 2017. It was all about keeping up the momentum that Nintendo had gained from the year before, but that did not mean they slowed down. First-party games included Luigi's Mansion 3, Mario Tennis Aces, and Kirby Star Allies. Nintendo also had a lot of third-party and indie support with games like Celeste, Katamari Damacy, and Mega Man 11. It was all about games this year, and Nintendo once again used their ace in the hole, the reveal of a new Super Smash Bros. Nintendo knew just what to give the people this year. New games, character reveals, the Super Crown. A paid online subscription was also pushed this year, isn't that just swell? But all in all, this year was stellar. Nintendo Direct had something for everybody this year, and was not only great for people who already owned a Switch, but this got a large number of people to pick up the console as well. 2019 was another year with a large amount of Directs dedicated to a single series. Pokémon got 2 Directs, Mario Maker 2 got 1, and even Nintendo Directs labeled as normal Directs also usually focused on one game, that being either Pokémon Sword and Shield or even Fire Emblem Three Houses. And Smash Ultimate was still not letting up as we got the Dragon Quest Hero, Banjo-Kazooie, and Terry Bogard announced as playable fighters. Breath of the Wild 2 was confirmed to be in development, and Metroid Prime 4 was confirmed to be starting over development. The E3 showing this year included the good trailer for Fire Emblem Three Houses, Link's Awakening, and Animal Crossing New Horizons getting hit with a delay. And Platinum Games came in with Astral Chain and the wonderful 101 Remastered. Some sadder news from this year included Reggie Fils-Aimé, who's been with Nintendo Direct since day one, retiring from Nintendo, and also this year marked the final days of the Nintendo 3DS, as Nintendo would stop developing and publishing games for the console, and the console being discontinued a year later. So long, old friends. 2020 was the year of the Nintendo Direct Mini. This began the era where fans would note a significant drought in Nintendo Directs as they slowly became less and less. We would get 2 Directs that were dedicated to Pokemon and Animal Crossing Direct, while the mini Directs we received were dedicated mostly to third-party games with some first-parties sprinkled in. Games announced this year include Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, Fitness Boxing 2, and Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. 4 Smash characters were revealed: Byleth, Min Min, Minecraft Steve, and Sephiroth. There was a Direct dedicated to the 35th anniversary of the Super Mario series, and we got a Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch, Mario 35, Bowser's Fury, and their biggest announcement being Super Mario 3D All-Stars, a collection of Mario's best 3D adventures, sorry Galaxy 2. The final Direct of the year was not dedicated to video games, but it was actually dedicated to the Super Nintendo World theme park in Universal Studios Japan. 2020 was the year of the little guys, that being the smaller Nintendo franchises and the focus on indie games. All around a fine year, but the Nintendo Direct drought would only get worse from here. 2021 was another slow year. In terms of the directs, we got Shinya Takahashi, who's been showing up in the Nintendo Directs as of late, and in terms of games, we got Mario Golf Star Rush, Advance Wars making a comeback with the first 2 games, WarioWare Get It Together, Kirby and the Forgotten Land got revealed, and Pokémon remade one of their worst generations and made a spin-off that was way better. Third-party announcements include Shin Megami Tensei 5, Rune Factory 5, and Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. One of the biggest announcements of the year was the revival of Metroid Dread. This game's history goes all the way back to the Nintendo DS, where it was cancelled for years only to be revived now on the Nintendo Switch. This year would also mark the end of Smash Ultimate character reveals with Pyra and Mythra, Kazuya, and Sora. Compared to last year, at least 2021 had directs, even though they were spread out completely through the year. There were both good first and third-party games, but the big games people are waiting for is Metroid Prime 4 and Breath of the Wild 2, 2 games that are still heavily in development. Here we are at the present day of Nintendo, with a grand total of 1 Nintendo Direct. The Direct talks about the new Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, a new Fire Emblem Warriors game, another trailer for Advance Wars, a new Mario Strikers, and some ports for older games like Chrono Cross and the Wii version of Star Wars The Force Unleashed. And the biggest reveal of the Direct being Nintendo Switch Sports. And with my credentials as the Wii Sports historian guy, I can confidently tell you that I have not played it. Oh, and we also got an Indie World Showcase where you play Dark Souls but as a crab. And that's it. That's the current history of Nintendo Direct. You can really see how Nintendo Direct reflected Nintendo as a whole. During their best years, Nintendo Direct was smashing hard, and when Nintendo was at their worst, Nintendo Direct suffered as well. We've come a long way since Donkey from Shrek dancing to Thriller. Nintendo Direct has existed during the life of 3 of Nintendo's home consoles, and is one of the most exciting pieces of Nintendo's history. It became much more than what it was back in 2011. It turned into an event to be excited for, and then have a meltdown 5 minutes later.
The rise and fall and rise again of Nintendo Direct is an interesting one, but due to the lack of Nintendo Directs of late, I'm able to spread more misinformation, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Oh. Except post my entire family tree.